Hello and welcome to your first tutorial with me. This week we're going to be looking at creating this kind of sprite animation. So sprites, as we said in the lesson, are 2D animations for 2D games. So it was an early idea of game making, but they're kind of coming back into fashion, these 2D games. Some of you might want to be mobile game developers or PC game developers, and this might be the place you first start. So what I'd like you to do then, before we get started, is find an image. So find a sprite sheet like this one here, and yours might have a background on it, and that's fine as well. And once you've found it, you need to obviously go File Open to bring it into Photoshop. If yours does have a background on it, use this magic wand tool over here to select the background and then just delete, and Control and D to deselect if you do use it. But if you haven't got a background, if you're using a PNG like me here, then you don't need to worry about your background. So what we're going to do is we're going to select each one of these images and we're going to create a new layer out of them. And then we're going to have to place each one on top of each other to create our animation. Before we do that, you need to set up your pane at the bottom here. So if you go Window, and you'll have an option here called Animation somewhere, so you make sure that's ticked. Mine's slightly different, my version of Photoshop. So I'm going to go to this second one. We're going to keep the first one. Actually, no, we'll select the first one. Using this marquee tool, you just click and hold and go around your character. Then I want you to click Control and C on the keyboard and then Control and V, and you can see that pastes onto a new layer. Go back to your first original layer and do the same for the next character, and again Control C, Control V. Back to your original layer and do the same again. Control C, Control V. And you should start to copy and paste every single one of these. Control C, Control V. Okay, I'm only going to do 4 at this point because I don't want you to have to sit through me doing that with all of them. There's our 4 images there. So now that we've cut those out, I'm just going to get rid of this layer 0 here. And we're going to keep layer 1 where it is. Layer 2, you use this move tool on your toolbar. Just position it, line it up. So once you've got it kind of in the right position, you can use your keyboard keys to make sure it's precisely in the right place. And then number 3, again, pop it precisely in place and keep doing that for each layer. Make sure you select each layer as you go through, so layer 1, layer 2, 3, and now we're on layer 4. And that's all of your layers on top of each other. Now I want to get rid of all this background around the outside. So if you hold Shift down on your keyboard, select the bottom layer, and then select the top layer, it should select all of them so they're highlighted in some way. With them highlighted, if you go to this crop tool and then draw around by clicking and holding around your characters, you should get this little box pop up. Double click and it's kind of cropped all of the background out. I'm going to go back to the move tool. A little tip there, if you want to switch to the move tool, you click V on your keyboard. Now on your version of Photoshop it's ever so slightly different, but in the corner of your timeline at the bottom here you should have this little menu. If you click on that, you should get some kind of option to create frames from layers. Now it might, just because I haven't got your version of Photoshop, you might want to just hover over a couple of options so that you can check, but it is along here somewhere. So if you can do that, that would be very useful. Once you've created frames from layers, so I'll just set mine up. It might be make frames from layers. You should be able to then, you might see panels down here, individual panels. You should be able to press play and it will play your animation back. Now obviously I've only got 4 frames here, so that's very small. But on this one I've got a few more, so I'll show you this one. And that's it. Simple as that, really. So if you manage to complete that very quickly, what I'd like you to start thinking about is creating your own sprite sheet. So if we go back, I'll just undo that for you so that you can see what a sprite sheet is again. So yeah, if you're ahead, start using these brush tools here to draw out your own characters in these movements here. You might want to use images for references as well, and you can use a graphics tablet to draw those out if you'd like to. Thanks for listening.